YouTube, how the heck you doing? This is Corey here with Watcher of Realms. We're back with another episode of VOD Review. Now, we went ahead and are currently top 4 in the Gladiator Gauntlet, so we went ahead and went versus Mad. So, honestly, a really good war, all things considered. As I mentioned, I'm not posting this, anytime soon. I just want to go ahead and give them chances to rebuild their teams or just have as much competitive integrity as possible. So if you're seeing this, it's probably like the last day of Gladiator Gauntlet or at the end of it, right? So let's get straight to it. So this is a decent run, right? We went 3-1, and then the one that we lost was pretty close. So let's get straight to it. Now, this is a Nightmare team. So with the Gladiator Gauntlet, one thing that we saw that became very common was the strategy of using rare archers paired with the chaotic shaman. So a couple interesting interactions that I don't necessarily agree with, but I've been knowing about this for a while. What you do is you go ahead and drop your chaotic shaman. You drop 2 of them, right? And then you stack them with the rare archers. Now the thing is, the burning on the chaotic shaman that they inflict when paired with units is a on hit effect, right? So every time they go ahead and hit, these rare archers hit, you can see Toreador gets multiple magic damage procs, and that absolutely melts him, and then it eventually melts Wukong as well. So what happens is this team is now lacking 1 revival for Toreador, and then Wukong is also gone, so a lot less to worry about. What we do is we go ahead and drop a tank right about at 10 cost. And then here's the second thing, right? I actually dropped the second tank a little bit early, which is one of the biggest mistakes that I did with this particular run, because I go ahead and drop him about 8.5 cost instead of the full 10. So what happens is Ymrit will go ahead and start to deal damage to him as alongside the Hotset much earlier than would normally occur, right? So right about now, he's starting to get hit. This would have not happened if I had waited a little bit. So that's going to be a really key thing to just be aware of. The second thing is Ymrit's going to go ahead and ult now. And so all I need to do is just kind of wait out the ult for at least a little bit of time so that I can drop the double rare tanks and then stack it up and then drop the double dogs. Now, I don't necessarily do that, right? Because as you can see, Ymrit is starting to kind of deal some considerable damage to my tanks, and my tanks are getting kind of low here. So I panic a little bit, and I go ahead and drop dogs right about 8 costs. So right around now, we should see the dogs spawn up. Second Hotset ults. Dogs. And this is wrong, right? So my tanks are still alive. And so these dogs are starting to pass through. And then the second set is also passing through. And what happens here is kind of unlucky. Hotset bounces and it just constantly ricochets off. And it takes out that one dog. And then we're also in a similar situation where now we're just getting juggled. So a little bit unfortunate. But if I had stacked up both dogs, they're getting through every single time. And this would have been a win. So this was just poor playing. So really quick, right? Smell1 is still going ahead and offering their discount on those W Gold purchases. You're still getting those diamonds, those stamina potions, and the divines, and at the higher end you're getting some additional W Gold. So just be on the lookout for that. Also, if you are interested and you want to go and start stacking up for anniversary or any upcoming banners that you might be looking forward to, right? They have some new packs here where you do go ahead and get some rare not rare stamina. You get some rare summoning crystals. You get another rare summoning crystal pack. You have an ancient summoning crystal pack, which is a really good mix between the Leia and the Ovar pack. So that's one thing to be on the lookout for. They also have a, a recasting hammer bundle, which is pretty good, especially if you're thinking, oh, I want to go ahead and roll this quad roll. It's there, right? They have an Infernal faction pack, so you have the ability to get Infernal units, and they also have a Nightmare faction pack as well, which is also super good, especially kind of considering where we are nowadays with those 2 factions, having some really good members. And then we have another Ancient Summoning Crystal pack, which is a little bit lower price in case you just want to get a couple, but not too many. Anyways, if you're thinking about it, link is in the description. See ya. My end. So a little bit unlucky. You learn, what can you do? just get better. And then we go ahead and attack this esoteric team. Now, there's a lot of interesting timings that are associated with this particular run. But it really just hinges off of using mages and flyers, right? So the first thing we go ahead and do is we wait a little bit and we drop a singular mage. There we go. And the whole purpose of the mage is actually to go ahead and get the Cyrus skeleton a little bit low. And then also the mage is supposed to go ahead and proc the Boreas ult. If it does that, this run gets significantly easier. So we go ahead and speed this up just a little bit. Mage goes ahead and hits. Cyrus skeleton is a little bit low and it's gone. Unfortunately, we do not proc the Boreas ult. So it gets a little bit tricky from here on out, but you know, it's a little bit okay. So Carnelian is going ahead and putting orbs on all these units here, and I'm able to just zoom in because I don't really do too much on the side after I drop this full. So what happens is these two lightning guards have a very interesting interaction because of Boreas. So Boreas is going to go ahead and freeze one right about now. Bam. And they kind of get off sync, and they go ahead and zap Cyrus, zap him again. He's within Carnelian, and now he's gone. So the whole interaction just relies on taking out the Cyrus between the Carnelian orbs that spawn up. And then we have our mage here, and his job is really just to kind of start bursting out the additional units. And we do exactly that. So he's tanking at least enough to eventually, I think he takes out Anora here. Interval. Final hit. Bam. Anora is now down, and which is perfect for us because we have all these additional units, so we are able to just start stacking up because there's no way for the Reeve to go ahead and deal enough damage to really just deal with all the units that we have on the map. So that's a pretty simple win, but the main thing is we were able to take out Cyrus and Boreas with just the lightning guards. That makes it so much easier. If Boreas was still alive, it gets a little bit scary, but we would just drop the double Pharaoh guards and then run it down, and we'd be pretty much okay from there on out. This is another esoteric team, which is a little bit different in composition, right? I believe. Yeah, it is. Now, the reason why it's different is because Cyrus is actually placed up right here. So we are reliant on our Garnet guards actually going ahead and taking out Anora. And this is also one huge thing, right? We basically insta-drop them right at the 8 cost because we need to go ahead and force the agenda, right? And get the Garnet guards to Anora ASAP, which is also why, if we were to kind of slow this down, let me speed this up and then get to the 4 cost here, slow it down. So we drop our speed dude right about now. And his job is to just accelerate them because we're against like a clock here, right? And so we hit the Cyrus and then we hit the Anora right after. The only way we lose this is if Anora survives and our Garnet guards are not able to go ahead and hit her in time. So once she's down, we're in a much better position. The second thing here is we need to go ahead and force the Boreas ult. So what we do is we go ahead and we drop a set of dogs any moment now. There we go. Now all we need is just the dogs to push through just a little bit past the Cyrus block. Now we have 3 units that are stacked up, and this final dog is the one that goes ahead and triggers it for us, which is a huge part as to why this run even works. The next thing is we want to drop our flyers here, our epic flyers specifically, and then we go ahead and we drop a set of dogs. I believe it's dogs. Or do we drop? Yep, we dropped the dogs. Now, the flyers are going ahead and they're starting to kind of chunk down the Cyrus skeleton, which is perfect for us. And then push through here. And this is all reliant on our flyers just tanking the Boreas. One of the great things for us is these are level 7 flyers, so they do have a decent amount of sustain. And bam, there we go. We go ahead and we secure the win because of that. Now, obviously, we're really banking on them being level 7 and surviving. And even with that, I dropped them a little bit early because they still got 1 hit of the Boreas ult. So if we were to lose, that would have been one mistake that I made, which could have costed me, right? And then we go against Zephyros. He's actually really cool. I spoke to him recently. He's super, super cool. But we go ahead and we attack his team. Now with this and with Lady Alexandria teams in general, the most common ways to go ahead and initiate the fight is with double healers. And the thing is, if your healers die, then it's pretty much a GG. But the whole purpose is to just kind of tank Alexandria. And so what we do is we drop them, and they're going to start healing each other right about here, because Lady A is going to start sniping them down. So right about now. There we go. And see, this is how the interaction works. They halt, they just freeze in place, and they just sustain up, which gives us the ability to drop our double necros now, and they're going to start passing through. Now, one of the interesting things as well, which I actually didn't know this, and maybe this is a consistent thing. If it is, then awesome, right? But we drop a tank. Lady A will go ahead and actually target the tanks here. And it wasn't just my run, it was a couple of different runs. She targets the tanks instead of the necros and the healers. So it's one thing to note. And then the second thing that we go ahead and do here is we just stack up all the costs we need. We get to 6 costs, and we are going to insta drop our bugs, because we have Reeve that is ulted, we have Paredes that's right about to ult, and we have all of these units that are stacked up here. And the most important interaction is right about to happen now once we drop this guy. They get sped up, and they're going to just run through the map here. The only kind of scary thing is if Paredes goes ahead and can just deal with all these units, which obviously Paredes has the ability to. He does. But all our units are able to just pass through here, and that is what goes ahead and secures the dub for us. Anyways, that's my Attacks versus Mad. They're obviously a really, really good guild. They're the #1 guild, undisputed. It's not even really that close, but we're doing decent, right? We're trying. Anyways, see ya.